Why do people die by suicide? It is important to know that oftentimes many factors combine to lead to a person to take the decision to take their own life. And for the most part, we normally tend to believe that it could be mental health, or people say that it's because of mental health or mental illness. But like I said, there's a lot of factors that might lead a person to commit suicide or to take their own life. And one of those factors that a lot of people do not talk about is spiritual. And I know that there's other factors, including mental illness, but I wouldn't say that mental illness is the main factor, because for those who are near or close to that person that commits suicide, it's hard to say if they ever missed any clue or any some sort of change or behavior. Because normally people that commit suicide are the least expected people that you might never, think they're going to be able to do something like that. And in the law enforcement community, this is something that it's happening too often. And, there's a lot of reasons why people sometimes need to talk about, situations that arise not when you're expecting in life. And, when you are a law enforcement and you tend to go to work and go home and come back to work and go home, and you have the same routine over and over, not taking in consideration the things that you have to experience, the things that you have to see, and the things that you have to go through each and every day out there. Sometimes it could be a financial situation. Sometimes it could be a family situation with your significant others. Sometimes it could be work related, when you feel trapped and you don't have other way to go around whatever the situation might be, and the burden, the impotence, the impotency, and sometimes the demand that it increase each and every day more and more, when you become the part that is the part that they always asking more and more, the part that is always expecting more and more from you. And you basically are giving more, they basically asking for more, but in return you don't see nothing coming back to you. And it's sad to say, but being a law enforcement in this day and age is one of the toughest things that you could ever be or have, per se. Because you not only have 75% of the public against you, but you also have, I would say, like 80 or 85% of your own people against you as well. It doesn't matter what department you work for. It doesn't matter what agency you work for. It doesn't matter what city, what community, or what local state or anything like that. The thing is that it always comes back to the person that commit the action. And unfortunately, those who we have lost, they not here to defend themselves or to tell us exactly what happened, what went through their mind when they believe that taking their own life was the only solution, probably for a temporary situation. That it could be fixed so many other ways, so many other channels that could be taken. But the thing is that it's not always, in my opinion, it's not always mental illness or mental issues that pretty much trigger people to take their own life or to commit suicide per se. And it's hard to say, like I said before, it's hard to determine specifically what they have to, or what they go through, what is it that they're going through in order for them to take part in this type of action. And this is what I would say. If you are going through whatever type of situation you are going through, even if it's spiritual and you need to go to a church and you need to read your Bible, need to talk to someone, express yourself, vent, do things different besides your job, besides your work, and try to find, some sort of hobby that pretty much occupy your mind or your self-being, in order for you not to have some sort of, thought or think about stuff like that. Sometimes we tend to take the hard way, or sometimes we tend to take the hard way when some situation comes to our life, and thinking that would be the best way to solve the situation. And 9 out of 10, people need to pause, breathe, and take their time before they think about harming themselves. It doesn't matter what type of situation could be. And, it's just a simple thought, but think about that. Spiritual have a big point into this. So you have to try to do better and ask the Lord for guidance and the wisdom. Thank you for listening. Stay tuned for more. One Under.